Hello and welcome to this 2017 Charger football preview. My name is Brad Monestier and I'm joined today by Chargers head coach Keith Otterbein. Together we're going to look ahead to what promises to be an exciting season. Coach, welcome.
Thanks, Brad.
Let's start right from the top with joining the Great Midwest Athletic Conference. This is something we've all been aware of for the last couple of years. Just give me your thoughts on the transition to this league and what it will mean for Hillsdale College football.
Well, we're really excited about it, to have a schedule full of other schools that look like Hillsdale College, other small private schools. Really is exciting for us. You know, it's something that we've talked about from time to time over the 15 years I've been here, and we're there, and we feel really good, and we're very excited to join the league.
Well, and as it so happens, you have a team that has become an older, more of a veteran team, a lot of starters coming back. Let's start on the offensive side of the football with the offensive line. You got a basically intact unit coming back from last year with multiple guys who started multiple games, more than just the five. Kind of describe how you've seen that group mature and what your expectations are of them.
Well, collectively as we look at it, and it's you just kind of go in an overall feel or a gut feeling, but from tackle to tackle, maybe the best, most consistent offensive line, most experienced offensive line we've ever had in the 15 years that Nate's been here and I've been here working with the offensive line. Jake Bull has really developed well at left tackle. Callahan played a bunch of football for us last year. Danny has turned into a really solid center. Van Orman at the right guard, and then Conkle at the right tackle. Just very solid group, and probably a little more depth than we had last year. Some of the guys called upon because of injuries and whatnot last season helped the shoal come along.
Right.
We're hoping that Marsh can finally stay healthy enough to make give us some depth at that spot. So very, very excited about it. Looking forward to it, and think that's a really solid group.
Right. And as we know, so much success on the offense is predicated on an offensive line with the continuity those guys have. And then with continuity, you have really all over the offense. We'll start next with the quarterbacks, where Chance and Steven both return. Steven had the one start, performed well last year, and Chance is a guy, he led the GLIAC in passing yards last year. So how have you seen that position with both of those guys kind of develop since the offseason began?
Well, they've both really done a great job in maturing in the offense, having control. The more snaps they have under center or in the shotgun nowadays, the more comfortable they feel at making the right reads, putting us in the right plays.
Right.
So much of our offense has turned into on the line of scrimmage, either pre-snap or post-snap reads for the quarterback, that it's really developed. And having both of those guys matured and developed in the offense and understanding the offense better makes us a better offense for sure.
Oh, you're right. Now, a quarterback's best friend is a good running game. And, Joe Reverman, another veteran returning starter. But there's a couple younger guys I know the staff is excited to work into that mix as well. So let's talk about the running backs.
Right, so, we had a little setback with Joe. He hurt his knee last season and kind of gutted it out and really, played one-legged football for about the second half of the season last year. Had some work done on it in the off-season, rehabbed, wasn't feeling right, so they went back in and did some more work. So we're not particularly sure when Joe's going to be 100% full go. So coming into camp, he's not going to be ready to jump in there and take the number one spot. So the guy kind of assuming that number one role is going to be David Graham. Showed some really nice things as a true freshman last year. Had a good understanding of the game. Christian Schreffler is another guy that has kept getting better, and Casey O'Brien has gotten better. So we're looking at those three guys kind of biding time. Obviously, Joe has some talent, and we'll get him back as soon as he's physically ready to jump back in there.
I know David was a guy who got a lot of special teams snaps. And at that position, how much does the special teams experience, maybe just having reps and plays on the field, help him if he's going to adjust to that number one spot?
Well, just being on the field. So he's played at game speed. He knows what game preparation is all about. Did a good job on the few plays that we did get him in on offense. So there's no question that just being out there in a game day atmosphere give some stability and some
Sure.
calm. And as I called him right after talking to Joe and finding out what his status was, he embraced the challenge.
Yeah.
He's very excited and looking forward to coming back and performing at a very high level.
Sure. Looking at the wide receivers, Trey Brock had a special season last year, without a doubt. Really took a big jump in his productivity and just the way he commanded the attention he had. How does Trey and the group of receivers that we have going out there working with Chance, how does that make the offense that much more lethal?
Well, so you put pressure on a defense,
Yes.
right? And this goes back to probably the last combination we had like this was Weatherhead and Holmes.
Yeah.
So if you get a really good X-receiver, the defense has to decide, are we going to double team that side and try to take that guy away, which opens up the front
Yes.
side of the formation,
Right.
or do they take away or balance the defensive structure and leave him alone on the backside or one-on-one on the backside, which allows him to expand on his talents and be connected. We really
Sure.
feel like Chance and Trey are very well connected. They're on the
Yeah.
same page, talk a lot about football. So, having that explosive speed to be able to go deep, we saw last year how much touch Chance has on a
Yeah.
deep ball. Trey's got the ability to get behind people. So, we put stress on the defense to be
Right.
able to go, which are they going to take away? And very similar to the Holmes time where we had Keg and Blanchard and
Yep.
Garika and all those guys on the front side.
Right.
Waldy, kind of was prior to that time. Those guys were also very productive because Dre was on the backside.
Yes.
These guys are on the front side. So you guys got guys like Sandusky and Mills. Zimmerman's over on the front side now.
Right.
So there's some really good talent. Javon Barr's a guy that really had a good spring for us. It's
Okay.
kind of that young little scat back receiver, along with the tight ends.
Right.
Brennan had a really good year catching the ball last year. He's gotten a little bigger. Austin Adams done a good job at tight end. So we've got some good young tight ends coming along and developing in the passing game, as well as getting big and stronger so they can work into the run game as well.
Sure. Let's transition over to the defensive side. Maybe mix up kind of what your base defense may be this year. Kind of describe what your game plan is, and then what sort of tweaks that you want to make to your kind of base defense as we go into the new season.
Well, it's still 4 down guys.
Right.
The technicalities are we're going from what you would call 4-3 defense, trying to get more skill on the field. That's
Okay.
really the objective of what we're doing. So we're 4-2-5, so that alley, strong safety kind of guys, more of a DB kind of strong safety body versus, Scotty Pinola, who was more of a linebacker body.
Right.
You're just seeing
Right.
so many people spread that you have to have a little quicker, more athletic, agile guy out there in space. So, Merrick Canada and Derek Branyan are guys that rep there in the spring. I think that's a position as they get closer to the line of scrimmage. We come across a lot more guys that are capable to play closer to the line of scrimmage than those guys that are in the deep end. They got to have speed, agility, and all those things back there, the ability to judge the ball. So we've got some guys we can plug into that front spot and take a Scotty Pinola, move him inside. You
Sure.
feel really good. We've got Pinola, Rose, Shanley, Jones, some guys that have really played.
Yeah.
Gives us a little more depth, and we don't feel as stretched at the linebacker position by making this kind of move with the defensive structure.
Maybe an adjustment to offenses going a little more pass heavy than run heavy, or is this more personnel that you got, kind of personnel that can go side to side?
Yeah, it wasn't so much run versus pass as much as it is just the basic structure of
Okay.
people lining up and spreading the field sideline to sideline.
Okay,
So
okay.
the horizontal stretch of offenses and putting 3 and 4 receivers out, which stretch you further this way, created the thought process to do that. And then that guy that's in the alley does have a little agility, a little bit more agility, mobility to be able to move in space a little bit
Okay.
better.
Sure. Now, the one area that will have some new personnel this year, special teams. Stephen Meddy so ably handled kicking and punting the last few years. Now we got some new guys there. Introduce us to who's going to be doing the kicking for us.
Right. So Joe Phillip is right now leading the charge as the the guy that's probably going to be the kicker. David Van Oud has had a really good spring going about halfway through spring, and then he had a little physical setback, so he missed the second half of spring. But up to that point, I would have named David David the starter at punter, and Joe the starter at field goal kicker and kickoffs. They'll come both into camp ready to compete. One of the areas that you don't really recognize is we had Will Jones jump in there at long snapper,
Sure.
And you replace a 4-year starter like Alex Fote. From a coaching standpoint, we were really, kind of, oh gosh, hope we're all right. But he came in and did a great job.
Sure.
And now we've got a young man out of Fort Wayne. Dipple will be battling for those snaps as well. So again, a little more depth makes you a little more easy in the saddle, and excited about the kicking game, along with the other guys that we're able to put on the field, where we feel like we've got a good complement of guys that are special teams guys that can play in the open spaces and the grass that you need to when it comes to special teams play.
Sure. In conclusion, kind of take us through the incoming freshman class. Just kind of give us a brief overview of what things you were identifying in the group that we brought in, and what the chances are maybe some of those guys could get snaps this season.
Well, we always think we're going to redshirt them all,
Right.
and always a couple, 3 of them play. We felt like we got a lot of talent, and we're able to really stretch our resources very, very well. Some solid football players, multiple position football players that can, go to one side or another. Once we get to coach them on a daily basis, we have a better idea how they plug in to our offense or defense or special team schemes, versus watching them run around in the gym and then, watching them on their high school tape. So we'll have a better idea once they get on campus, but it's a very flexible, multiple group. Very proud of the fact that they fit Hillsdale Academics, and there's a good fit there. They bought in, they understand what they're getting into on the football field, they understand what they're getting to in the classroom. Really excited about them. They've been on campus. We've had 2 captains practices, so they've started to acclimate and adjust to their teammates, and really excited and looking forward to start of the season.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time, and looking ahead to what's going to be a great season. Can't wait to see it unfold.
Thanks.
So we thank you for watching this 2017 Charger Football Preview.